Hi, everyone. From me, Brent Graham of goodforthegame.co.za. Thanks for joining us for this European Champions Cup Round 1 betting preview. I can tell you it's also the final show of 2023. I am going away down to the coast next week, so going to take things easy for a few weeks. And we are going to be giving away a book, The Fireside Springbok. There is a review on the YouTube channel. It's a superb book, and that is going to go to one of the live viewers on tonight's show. But let's start off by introducing the guests. And I'm going to start off in the top there. He's wearing his World Cup jersey, I believe, with all of the logos on there. It's Henrik Swart, a.k.a. The Undertaker. Henrik, great to have you on for the final show of the year.
How's it been? This year has flown by. I told somebody yesterday that the COVID years seem to go slowly, but I can't believe this year is gone. It's been quick, and the World Cup obviously didn't help with it going fast because when you're having fun, it goes fast, and the World Cup was brilliant. I missed the World Cup, that's why I'm putting on the shirt tonight. Looking forward to the weekend's rugby. Some quality games lined up.
Excellent. Well, Mark Dunphy joining us in the live chat. How are you, Mark? Hope your recovery is going well, mate. And then a year ago, you say time has flown. I can absolutely agree with you, Henrik, because a year ago, myself and this man were sipping warm beers together somewhere in an English pub. I can tell you I was over there for my son's rugby tour. It's Brendan O'Connell, a.k.a. Coyle, a.k.a. Patches. Brendan, good to have you back on the show, mate. It's been a while.
Shame, I'm glad you can remember all the different aliases, eh? God, it's enough. But the first thing, Brent, I can't believe it, eh? Like you say, the last show of the year, you're off on holiday, Christmas is around the corner. And like Henrik says, this year has flown by. I can't believe how quickly it's gone. The World Cup seemed to just flash by, sadly. But at least we do have a good couple of weeks, and we've got a couple of months still, at least, of good rugby to look forward to. And the Six Nations will be upon us before we know it as well. So, just got to keep on grinding on. But time's flown by.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, as a rugby punter these days, there's always something to bet on. I mean, I remember the days of the off season. You had to pass the time. I mean, now it actually gets to the point where I wish there was an off season sometimes. It's so heavy. But guys, just a quick one. I want to just explain to everyone, and we'll bring this up a couple of times during the show as people join late. But to enter into the draw for a copy of this book, The Fireside Springbok by Mike Greenaway, you can just use #box in the live chat. Now, the only thing is, your delivery anywhere in South Africa will get it to your closest PEP store. But if you are overseas and you want to win it, you're going to have to organize probably to get it sent back or have someone fly over with it or something like that, because it's probably not going to warrant the cost of sending it over there. So I guess South African guys can probably have a go at this unless you fancy arranging for it to come through. But I can tell you it's an absolutely brilliant read. I've started on it, and some great stories. And there is a review on the YouTube channel as well. And of course, the link to the newsletter down below. But gents, let's get into the action then. And we're going to start off with Friday night. We've got two games. Connacht up against Bordeaux. And let me just apologize if there is background noise on my side. I had to fill the generator with blooming diesel. My hands smell the diesel fell all over my hands. And we got thunder, and I've got a fan going because it's bloody hot here in Johannesburg. So hopefully the quality is not too bad. Brendan, I'm going to start with you. We've got Connacht here, URC team. They're traveling fairly well in the URC. They're up against Bordeaux. And now there was lots of talk earlier in the week. Would Bordeaux send a weakened side? But based on the betting moves, I'd have to suggest that's not the case. 4.5 into 3.5, so a bit of money for Bordeaux here. Where's your money going?
Yeah, so initially, earlier on in the week, I saw the guys sort of talking about Connacht and the presumption that Bordeaux might just have a slightly weakened side. But true to form, Bordeaux named quite a strong side, probably the strongest side that they probably could name for the match. But so have Connacht. A couple of players are back for them as well. Bundy Aki's back. Hansen's at full back. And their pack looks pretty much up to scratch now as well. But the Bordeaux side, looking at it earlier on today, it looks really strong. The cap's at 3.5. Like you say, it's if anything, it's kind of firmed a point or two either side. There are a couple of showers around early in the morning, I believe. And
have
from
you
there
seen
on,
points lines, Brendan, on this? Because I couldn't find any points lines yet on these games.
No points lines, no. But I was looking earlier on. I couldn't see anything for this game. I think Carl Dixon is the ref for this game. historically, it's quite funny. You've got two of the understakers on the show this evening. Both myself and Hendrik like the unders, that's for sure. So there's probably not going to be much disparity there when it comes to unders and what we really fancy. Carl Dixon, historically he was quite an unders ref, but he seems to kind of neutralized over the last sort of season or two. So probably can't read too much into that. Although I probably would be leaning maybe on an unders, especially with the strong Bordeaux side as well. But I haven't seen any lines sadly yet. The handicap, I mean, again, you just wonder, with these French teams, what are they going to come up with? The fact that they've named a strong side presumes that they're going to want to play well, and they're going to want to try and get something out of this game. Connacht have been reasonable enough. There'll obviously be a nice big home crowd there to cheer them on. The cap looks probably about right. I'm probably going to look at the total points. Sort of anything around the sort of 47, 48 and a half, I'd probably be leaning towards the unders there.
Well, Brendan made the point. Henrik, I assume you dropped off there with a bit of a bad connection.
Oh, sorry.
No problem. I think you just did it so you could come back. The understaker could be on the under part of the screen there. Because Brendan was pointing out that we had got two understakers here. Unfortunately, Henrik, we don't have points lines. So we have to just make an assumption if you want to talk about points like Brendan did there. But we do have a handicap of -3.5. Let me lead you in here by saying I like Bordeaux to win this game at about 15-10.
Brent, I told you before we came onto the show that I don't watch the top 14 and I don't watch the English Premiership teams or the. I'm going to rely on my URC. Like you've said, it is a decent Connacht fan. I've been a Connacht fan for the last few years, punting wise, and they've been quite decent. And I think that if Bordeaux has picked a strong side as it seems to have, the handicap is probably well set, and you're probably going to get some value backing the underdog. I'm unsure, but I want to back Connacht. Probably going to join Core and maybe even go on Bordeaux points. Yeah, but one for me. This is the way to go, like Coyle said, because always at the sports ground it's windy and it's moisture around. But I have no feeling on the point on the handicap.
Okay, I'm going to go to Coyle for the next one then. I think the line breaking up just a little bit. I have put scrolling, by the way, guys, how you enter the comp. We've got a number of comps already, a number of entries already. #box to win this excellent book. I can tell you it retails for 650 Rand at exclusive books. Been a while since I bought a book. Brendan, I know you and I tend to read the same books. Gypsy, Fighters, Bare Knuckle, and all that sort of stuff. But the prices have gone up. How much do books cost in the UK?
Oh, God. Yeah, that's a really good question, because I listen mostly now to Audible. So, listening in the car and that sort of thing. So books-wise, you'd always catch me at the second-hand bookstore. And there they're probably going from about £2.50 to about £6 or £7, depending on where you are. New books, probably around the £12 to £15, somewhere around there, I suppose.
Right,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so dear enough, But Audible's a great one. I think it's like £20 a month, and you get 3 or 4 books a month or something. And I'd rather listen to those instead of trying to find my glasses and things.
Reading is really a strong point. I recall that very well. Right, let's go Warriors. True. Back to the rugger, -6.5. The Warriors up against the Northampton Saints. What are you doing here, Brendan? I must say, I'm actually leaning towards the Saints here. I've been quite impressed with them.
Yeah, me too. I really have. Gallagher Premiership, they've been galloping along really nicely. They were historically a really bad side on the road. They seem to have put that behind them. They now have a good pack combined with some really quick and fast backs. Looking at the referee, it's the French referee, Luc Ramos. Yeah, he's kind of neither here nor there, I don't think. These two sides played 6 years ago, which was quite some time. And the Saints seem to have had a better sort of run of it. And I'm going to echo what you just said now. Yeah, I really like Saints to win this. I think they're going to pull off the old hit and run here. I see the handicap did come in slightly. It was originally sort of 9.5 points at the start of the week. It's now 7.5. It's still good enough for me. I'm going to go on the plus 7.5 quite strongly here. And I'm also going to back Saints to win the game as well.
Confident thoughts there from Coyle O'Connell. We're going to go to Henrik. Guys in the live chat, just let us know. I wasn't sure if the Wi-Fi is playing up a little bit, if you're battling with Henrik at all, but let's see how it goes. Henrik, you got a URC team here, but unfortunately, mate, they're playing against the Gallagher Premiership side.
Yeah, I hope you guys can hear me better. Glasgow, I went against them last week against Munster, and in the end, I think they stayed in the cap, if I remember correctly, or around about where. Saints, I think Saints is the. I'd be happy this one. With Brendan on the plus, probably get the dog to win the game as well. And this seems like a game that should have points as well. Have points. To go over this.
I always like points in Glasgow Warriors home matches, I must say. I'm going to keep jumping up to Brendan for now. I think, Henrik, the line's definitely getting better. I just had a little bit of interference here. Brendan, can you hear Henrik, or do you find a bit of interference?
A little bit of interference here and there. It seems to be breaking every now and again.
But not. It seems to be improving. So, Henrik, we'll stick with it, and I'm going to go up to Coyle now. We got the first of our Saturday games, and I got to say up front, Brendan, I looked at the Saturday games, and I kept on coming down on the minus. So very interesting to see if you agree. We got Toulon here against the Exeter Chiefs, minus 15.5.
Yeah, Exeter. They lost a lot of players towards the end of last season, and then they started the season quite well initially. A young team, very flashy in the backs. The pack, it was reasonable, but not that great. They're currently lying 6th in the Gallagher Premiership at the moment, but it's their away form that's really bad, and I think that's what's going to cost them this time around as well. It'll be a young side playing against a Toulon side that's doing really well in the top 14. They're second at the moment, playing well. They seem to have their structure back in place, and now they're challenging for the title once again. I am expecting a long, hard day here for Exeter, and I think there was sort of minus 13.5, minus 14.5, minus 14.5, and I quite fancy that. Yes. I think Toulon could run away with this.
Yeah, we're in agreement, right? 1 minus. And then Henrik is back, so we're going to try him again. He's acting with his connection. Here comes the Undertaker. And Henrik, let's go straight into this game and see how it goes. We got Toulon with a big cap here, minus 15.5 against the Chiefs.
Yeah, that's a big one, eh? But it is a home game for the French, and I'm always wary of the French when they're on the road. Also a game where I think there might be points, Brent. I'm unsure about the handicap again. I think the plus might be the way to go, but I think this one should have points as well. So plus 15.5 and maybe an overs one if you get around about 50 points.
Excellent. Well, I can tell you the line is much improved, Henrik, so I'm going to stick with you while the going is good and bring you into the next game here. We got Bath up against Ulster. Bath looked to be travelling fairly well in the Premiership from what I can see. They're up against an Ulster side that were quite big favourites last week, but I think they lost to Edinburgh. So a bit of a surprise that maybe. What any views on this one?
I think Ulster will take this competition fairly seriously, and I like the Irish teams. And they're always good for me in the URC. So definitely a plus on this one, Brent. And I think this might be a game where unders is the way to go on the points as well.
Right, and confirmation coming through in the live chat, Henrik, that you're coming through loud and clear enough. We definitely got a better connection.
Cool.
And Brendan, we go up to you now on this game. And I've just got a feeling that you're going to side with Bath on this one. Tell me I'm wrong.
No. Funnily enough, Bath been a great, they've started the season really well. Second in the Gallagher Premiership. made some shrewd signings there. They got Finn Russell, Thomas the Toy, Sam Underhill's playing really well for them. Little bit disappointed with Ulster. Yeah, they've been beaten by Edinburgh and Glasgow in their last 2 games. But they get a couple of players back this weekend. And I really fancy them really strongly. I really like Ulster in this. I think they're going to go really close. So +5.5 is good enough for me. And I'll have a little nibble on the outright. But I think this will be down to the wire. And like Henrik says as well, I think this is the kind of game. Oh, I see 6.5. That's even better on the screen here. And yeah, I can't see a lot of points. The weather should be fine. It's going to be cold. Yeah, there's going to be heavy conditions overall just due to the rain and just no sunlight. So there's not been much evaporation, things like that. So it'll be a dense sort of day. And I got a feeling that this will be a very tight game. No idea what the point spread probably come out around 44.5. But Ulster for me, yeah, quite strongly on this one as well.
Jan Esterhuizen rubber stamping that one, Brendan. And yeah, let's go on to the next game then. We've got a big handicap here. The question, of course, is it big enough? We've got Toulouse up against Cardiff. Toulouse -26.5. Brendan, we'll stick with you.
Yeah, always dangerous, 26.5 points. The Welsh sides haven't competed that well in this tournament previously. Cardiff are the kind of team, though, that can score points. They're not afraid to run it. It's just going to be a case of, can they score something to trouble the handicap? Because there's no doubt if Toulouse name, a very strong side, which I'm sure they will, they'll be aiming for 4-try bonus here without a doubt. Always dangerous to take a big cup, especially with the French, maybe, possibly. Cardiff scoring those annoying 1 or 2 late tries, possibly to kill the cap. It's a no bet for me, but if I had to have one, I'd probably go with Toulouse because, they've got the pedigree, they've got everything else running for them. And Cardiff are just, I don't know. Like I said, just the Welsh just don't have a good record in this tournament. So tough one to call, if anything, Toulouse. But I won't get involved in this. There's better ones to get involved in.
Well, 2 comments there. I like Toulouse on the handicap on the minus as well. As I said, I like the Saturday games. I like the minus. But I want to make another comment that you said no bet for me. Now, I'm willing to say that on Thursday night, 9 o'clock, it's a no bet. I'm betting you that you will have a bet on this game. I've got absolutely no doubt about it. I've surely known you
quite right.
too long. We'll go back in. And WJS coming in there saying, surely Toulouse rest some. I'm guessing Henrik probably won't have a firm view on that, but let's see if he wants to do anything in this game or if he's going to take the no bet. And if Henrik says no bet, I actually believe he means no bet, but not you, Brendan.
Brent, Cardiff, they've been hit and miss, but for me, I've struggled with them. Last week they cost me again against Scarlets, and they impressed early on, and then I backed them and I lost on them. I probably lost more than I won on them this season so far. And traditionally, I like going against the Welsh teams in the URC. Toulouse, they are such a quality side with such brilliant players. I'm with you on this one, Brent. I think the minus is the way to go here. It's Cardiff away in France. I think this is the way to go. I think Toulouse can score 5 more tries than Cardiff here. It's going to be interesting where the points open up here. Toulouse points probably going to be in mid-40s, 44, 43, 42, thereabouts. And that might be the bet as well. If the conditions are good, I can see Toulouse scoring 50 points here.
Nice confidence there from Henrik. I'm with him 100%. Let's just remind you, you can enter the competition #box. That's all you've got to use in the live chat to be entered into the competition for the Fireside Springbok. Henrik, I'm going to stay with you and move on to what for me is the game of the weekend. It's the Bulls up against Saracens. Bulls have really shown some good form in the URC, particularly at home. They've been tough to stop. They play a Saracens side that, should be capable of giving them a good run for their money. But what's going to happen here? There's been money for the Bulls. It's gone -3.5 up to -5.5.
No, this is going to be a cracker at Loftus Saturday afternoon. I'm looking forward to this one, Brent. I'm not up to date with how Saracens are going, but the Bulls are very good this season. They look really good. I think the minus is the way to go here. And yeah, I think this game will have points as well. Anything under 50 points, I'll be on the overs here. I expect the conditions to be good. I haven't checked the weather in Pretoria. Brent, you'll probably be able to tell us more about the weather. But yeah, I think overs on this game and the minus as well. If the minus stay at 5 or 6 under that 7 mark, I'll be on the minus on this one.
Walter White saying minus 17 Bulls. Take the 5-1. Has anybody ever seen Walter White and Oracle in the same room? I'm wondering if they're not maybe one and the same, because that's very much an Oracle comment there from Walter. And Stephen Mark saying he'll be at Loftus, and the Bulls on the minus, best bet on the card for him. Right, Brendan, you probably have seen quite a bit of Saracens. I see they were dealt a bit of a defeat on the weekend at home, so perhaps not at their best this season. I expected when I looked at the table to see them at the top, but I think they're lurking around about 5th or 6th, somewhere there.
Yeah, they're sort of 5th or 6th. Yeah, can't remember exactly where they were. I went for the Saints last week, which was quite good. Saints played really well, didn't allow Series to get into the game. It looks like, I don't know, I wouldn't write them off just yet. Obviously, they still got so many quality players, great coaches, great team management there. But I agree with you. This like on just watching wise, I can't wait for this game. Like Henrik says, the Bulls look really good this season. The way they dismantled the Sharks last weekend was outstanding, despite us knowing that the Sharks are pretty shite anyway. But yeah, I mean they bossed them around. What I am going to disagree with, I think this could be a low scoring game. But Barry's defense in the past have been very, very good. It is at Loftus, yes, and there is the travel factor as well. So I'll probably looking for the highest point spread I can find and going low on that, and then just watching the game. I'm not gonna get involved in the handicap. Steries are the kind of team that I wouldn't write off in any way, and I could see them actually winning this game, believe it or not. But yeah, for me, I'm going to be looking at points, and I'm going to be hoping for like a very tight game, and hopefully a lot of errors and reset scrums.
The unders boys love their reset scrums. Yeah, I think this is going to be good. I must say, I don't have a firm view. I am leaning towards the Bulls, but interesting that you say that on points. Going to be very interesting to see what the line comes out at here. I'm kind of with Henrik in that if it comes out around the 50 or under, I've got to say it's going to be hard to take unders then. But if they do price up something like 56.5 or something, then I'd have to.
Yes, I'll be gobbling up the unders.
Have a rethink there. Well, we got another big handicap coming up here, Brendan, and I'm going to give it to you. Munster minus 23.5 against Bayonne here, and Munster, they've been a bit hot and cold this season. They were pretty good last week in a high-scoring victory over the Glasgow Warriors. Is 23.5 points enough of a start for the French team?
Yeah, you'd probably expect Bayonne. They're sort of towards the bottom of the top 14. They're sort of 10th or 11th place out of the 14 teams. Their away form is awful. I think they've lost all 5 of their away games in the top 14. I presume that if anything, I'd say that they're a team certainly that are going to cross the channel with a very weak inside. So potentially, I don't think you can rely on them, even though the handicap looks large. I won't say I'm confident on Munster minus 23, but that's where I'm going to be having a bit of a nibble on. No confidence in going with Bayonne. They could just drop their heads. And like I said, it's a good chance that they'll probably have a very weak inside as well. So Munster, yeah, like you say, haven't delivered as well as they might. They're back in Limerick this weekend. It's a decent day. It'll just be cold. I don't believe there's any rain about. And I think that they could run away with a big score, yeah.
Well, Stephen Marks is in agreement. He's going to be racing straight from Loftus to watch this game. Off at the same time. And Stephen, I don't think, I'm not sure, I think the Loftus is a later kickoff. If it was an afternoon kickoff, I was going to ask you a favor and ask you to sit on the opposite stand to the cameras, the one which gets the beating sun, so we'd be able to see you. Because I can tell you, everyone at Loftus sits on the other side so that you don't get absolutely frazzled in the South African time. I mean, Brendan, you'll know, and Henrik as well will know that when we were youngsters growing up, you didn't play rugby at this time of year. There's no way you ran out for a rugby game in December in South Africa. It's crazy temperatures. The Admiral coming in as well. He's saying Munster, Bayonne, a slightly worse version of Connacht of the top 14. Right, Henrik, any views here on this one? I'm also, like Brendan, firmly in the Munster camp.
Yeah, Brent, me as well. Like you probably might recall, I'm a big fan of Graham Roundtree as a coach. So I always back Munster. I'm a big Munster fan. They've been very good the last year or so to me. And I expected this one to be closer to 30 points, actually. So, yeah, I like the minus. I think this minus is too low. And especially with the French traveling sides, when they go to the UK, you can 9 out of 10 times you can back against the French, no matter what the handicap is. And I've quickly checked the top 14 results, and it seems like there's some high-scoring games as well, eh? So this one might have points as well. I think Munster overs, or maybe even Munster overs on first half points, because I expect Munster to get out of the blocks quickly here. Like a minus 12.5 thereabouts, first half handicap as well. So yeah, I think this game will have points, and I think that handicap is at least 4 or 5 points too low.
Mark Dunphy rubber stamping it there. He's also a Munster on the minus, and that coming from a solid Leinster supporter. Henrik, we're going to stick with you. There's been lots of money in this game. I think it opened up about Bears minus 3.5, possibly minus 5.5. It was the one that Pablo on the Good for the Game forum pointed out. Southpaw backed him up, if I recall. And here this line has moved out to minus 10.5. Now, the boys on the forum are suggesting that even at 10.5, it would be worth getting on the home team here, as Leon have picked what looks like a bit of a weakened side. Are you tempted to jump on the Bristol Bears bus?
I saw the posts, and obviously they got some nice value, seeing how the line has moved. I've never been a Bristol Bears fan. I know there's a lot of guys that over the years like backing them, and they've probably been good. I just never liked them. But then again, it is a French side in the UK away from home. The minus is probably the way to go, but yeah, no feeling for me on this one, Brent, and even points as well. I just feel that on the points wise, this might be a scrappy game. I think Bristol might be throwing it around wildly and just might get some errors and stuff. Yeah, I don't have a feel on this one. Sorry.
No problem at all. We'll go up to Brendan. Brendan, funny, I've always enjoyed, not so much the last couple of seasons, but I used to really enjoy watching the Bristol Bears play. But I would once again be leaning on the minus here. I think they can take Leon. What do you think?
Just to reiterate what you said earlier on, well spotted by Pablo. The captain started off at 3.5. So I think himself and South jumped onto that. And now they've got a nice spread in the middle there, 7 points, which is nice to see. Bristol Bears. Funny enough, last season I thought they were going to have a really good season. I think someone else also was it Thoughts on Sports, or one of them lads that really likes the Bristol Bears, I think.
Yeah.
And I agreed with them. I thought last season they'd do really well, and they were sort of average. This season they're playing really well, but they don't have a great record in this tournament either. So I managed to get some 3.5 as well, but I think I'm going to cover it. Yeah, the 10.5. There's something about, and like Henrik sort of mentioned it there as well. You know, he could imagine like a scrappy game here. Leon, they're 0 from 5 in the top 14. They're 12th or 13th in the log, so they'd be looking at the top 14 really as their mainstay. You know, so certainly I can imagine a weakened side coming across. But the type of tournament it is, I just hope Bristol just don't go into it thinking that they've halfway there and they've won the game sort of halfway already. It's going to a dangerous line now, I think, around the 10.5. I mean, the Leon side could completely blow out and that would be the end of it. But there's still a little bit of a worry for me with Bristol. You know, like I said, I've kind of followed them the last couple of seasons, really expecting them to do well. They've started the season well in the Gallagher Premiership, but it's a different tournament. And I mean, they should go well on form, but I think there are a couple of question marks as well.
That sounds like a man who's wrestling with himself. He's got the 3.5. There's a 7-point margin, and I got the feeling there was almost like boxers trading lows. It was like trade out at the 10.5. No, maybe hang on there. But yeah, well, let us know what you do in the end. As much as it's nice to get that early line, it sometimes does create some interesting decisions that you need to make. And judging by that, Brendan, I'd say you're not confident. I can see you're going to be taking a bit of cover on the plus.
Absolutely, yeah. I think of the 3.5, and I think, oh man, that's such a good bet to have already. But I've seen it so many times, where you get screwed over just the same. So it's probably the right thing to at least cover something.
That coming from a veteran punter, man who's taken a lot of punches and had to climb off the canvas many times. Right, Brendan, we're going to stick with you. Sale Sharks minus 10.5 against Stade Francais. This game, I must admit, I've got no opinion from because I haven't watched the Sharks at all this season.
Oh, well, the Sharks have ended up on 2 serious, massive blowouts. Last week was against, was it Bath last week that they played? Anyway, they had an earlier blowout earlier in the season where they lost sort of 40 or 50 points to 0 or 7. And last week was exactly the same. I think they scored 3 points or maybe 1 try, and that was it. Strange, really strange performances in those 2 games by Sale. Stade Francais, nice win on the weekend. They beat Clermont, I think it was, in the top 14. Once again, a good side at home, strong side at home, and they've improved over the last couple of seasons. They have Stade Francais. You said the handicap's 10.5. Eh? Again, have a look at the squad. Who have Stade Francais brought over? How serious are they taking this competition? I'd imagine that they're probably taking it quite seriously, but they're probably looking at the reverse fixture in Paris that they're going to sort of try and label. Sale, yeah, just so disappointing last week. They were absolutely hopeless. Was it against Leicester? Did they play Leicester last week? Oh, God, sorry. Mine's too many rugby letters. Well, whoever they were. But I just remember thinking that they were absolutely appalling. George Ford was hopeless. Yeah, so for me, if anything, I might have like a little nibble on the plus here with Paris. Just on the very poor performance that Sale have shown so far, or the inconsistencies, you know what I mean, that they've produced so far. So yeah, Paris for me.
Right. Well, Stephen Marks, this will be on the Sunday. This game, of course. Sunburned Stephen Marks will be saying that start of France. Nothing. Yeah. Let's get Henrik's views. Henrik, if you were listening carefully to Brendan there, I imagine you're even more confused than when you started looking at this game.
Well, I sound quite similar in some of the games. I can imagine people not knowing what I call in the game. But yeah, I think the plus is the way to go here, Brent. I'm checking the log of the top 14 and the results, and thought they've actually they've travelled quite well. Well, not travelled, but they've gone quite well in the top 14. Even though this is a away game for a French team in the UK, a double figure plus. I think the plus is the way to go here. I just can't trust Sale on Brendan's comments on how they've played. So yeah, I think. No confidence in this one, but I think the plus is the way to go.
Right, we'll stay with you then for the next game. Leicester Tigers minus 12.5 against the Stormers. I'm not sure if there's been a bit of movement in this game. I haven't really tracked it, but Storm has been overall a little bit disappointing. Even last week, I didn't get to watch the games. I was having a very disappointing poker tournament myself last week. But I see the Stormers cost a lot of punters who thought they would put Zebra away by a bigger margin. What do you think now? Travelling over to the Leicester Tigers, they got to come back, I think, and play La Rochelle next week at home. Is this a game where the Stormers might be perhaps prepared to lose and rather focus on the home games?
Brent, just before I get into that, on your comments about the Stormers last week, I was away fishing last week, so I didn't get too involved. I had one bet for the whole weekend. It was a fourfold at 12-1. and the last leg was over some total points in the Stormers game. So I was so disappointed. All the other 3 came through for me, and I lost on the 12-1 forfeit. So I was so disgusted with the Stormers. I expected a lot of points in Stellenbosch, but yeah, anyway. So obviously at 12-1, you don't put on too much money anyway. So it wasn't a big loss, but yeah, just it would have been nice to get that. So yeah, the Stormers have actually been very disappointing, especially all the games up there when they travelled for the URC. They were really poor, and I think this one opened up about 6.5 points thereabouts. I didn't check the initial handicaps, but someone posted the Bet365 handicaps on the forum, and I saw this was 6. And then I commented on the forum and said I like the minus. And it's more a case of me opposing the Stormers than backing the Tigers. And at 12.5, I think the minus is still the way to go, Brent. I think the Stormers might be found wanting badly here. I like this is one of my stronger fancies of the weekend. I like the minus a lot.
Well, Brendan, we've had big line movement here. There was minus 6.5. It's now come out to minus 12.5. Often as a punter, you get the feeling, sure, but I've missed the value. But often I've noticed that when these betting happen, the bookies actually don't move the line enough. What Henrik is saying here, he still likes the minus. I like the minus here as well. Are you going to make it 3 from 3, or you think the Stormers can grab the plus?
On last week's performance, you have to go Leicester Tigers minus. I watched that game and I was throwing things at the TV. It was unbelievable. You're probably lucky you didn't see it, Henrik, because the Stormers had ample opportunities to score. They must have butchered 4 or 5 tries where they got into Zebra's sort of 22, 10 meters from the line, and they were handling errors. Unbelievable handling errors, like you can't believe, I think even if you had thrown them beach balls, they would have knocked them on. It was so bad, incredibly frustrating, and especially for the handicap guys as well. I mean, Zebra at times were the better team. In fact, for large portions of the game, they were the better team. But yeah, when it came to, they got the old white line fever. Very often, a team could possibly bounce back and put in a better performance this week, but I just can't get that game from last week out of my head. It was so poor. And Leicester Tigers really looked the business last week. I think they're going to be taking this season, this tournament as well, and this season very, very seriously. Weather conditions good. I think the minus is definitely the way to go.
Walter just making the point, was supposed to be Mani Lebock for Andre Pollard, but he thinks Mani's been left at home for Dylan Lates. The French side, La Rochelle when they come in a few days time there. Henrik, forgive me, I can't remember. Did I talk to you about the Leicester Tigers?
You did.
I'm opposing the Stormers, Brent.
Yes, okay, thank you.
No matter what, doesn't matter what handicap it is.
Yeah. Traveling Stormers side at this stage. I'm going against the traveling Stormers side at this stage.
Brendan was weaving his magic, and I was just getting lost in the conversation there. Right, let's go on to the next game, Brendan. We got 2 left. It's there's a lot of fixtures here, 12 fixtures. And we got La Rochelle. This is a repeat of last year's final, except last year's final, of course, took place in Dublin. We got La Rochelle here, the underdogs. They haven't made the best of start to the season. People say Leinster haven't made a good start, and yet they sort of top of the URC log. They've only lost 1 game. What do you make of this one? Plus 2.5 La Rochelle at home. Is that going to tempt you?
Yeah, quite right, eh? I see Ronan Angara got another touchline fine the other day. I think it's his 4th in the last 2 seasons. So he certainly gets quite vocal and quite loud on the sidelines. Tough. La Rochelle at home have been quite good. On their travels, it just doesn't look like they're taking their games too seriously. This tournament, obviously, will be different. So I'm leaning towards La Rochelle. But it's a tough game. I kind of also get the feeling that Leinster haven't played as well as they should have. But they have had quite a few chopped and changed sides over the last couple of weeks. And depending on who's named and, what the starting sides are, there'll obviously be a lot more competitive, and being slight favourites on what we've seen so far with La Rochelle maybe in the top 14, they probably deserve to be favourites. But I'm going with La Rochelle, yeah. And not overly confident, but moderately.
Admiral agrees with you here. And Johan Esthuizen also got an interesting bet. He says either team by 1 to 7 points. Wouldn't put anyone off that. And just talking of team selection there, Brendan, Mark says if Crawley at 10, I think it's Crawley. Is it Frawley? Is that right?
Crawley.
Crawley.
Yeah, it is Crawley. It is Crawley, yeah.
Jack Crawley.
And it's Harry Burns at 10. You can see, I must admit, I do get confused by some of the Irish teams at some stage. Guys, I promise you, I'm drinking still tap water here.
Are you sure?
I'm absolutely getting hammered on the show. But let's go to Henrik for this one. Henrik, this has the makings to me of a very tight game.
Yeah, Brent, this should also be a cracking game, eh? And then Leinster favourites away from home. I always like going against Leinster because I think the bookies overvalue them. But in this game, I'm going for the minus. I think Leinster can win this one by 7 or more. La Rochelle, they haven't been that great in the top 14 from the results I've checked. They are mid to lower table. So they've won 4 from 9 games. And I see a lot of their games that have gone unders from where I would put the points line in the top 14. So, and this game, it looks like it can have the makings of an unders game as well. Because I expect Leinster to be sharp on the defence. And it doesn't look like La Rochelle is hitting the lights out with the attack, if I see the points they have got in their games so far. So, saying that, I like the minus, and I think the unders on total points is the way to go here as well.
Having a bit of a chuckle there at the Admiral saying Zach Crawley is the England opening batsman. Can I take Zach Crawley first try scorer? Probably not. Thanks for correcting me there, Mark, on that one. The Undertaker is going for Leinster. Mark is amazed that he's going for Leinster. So we'll have a look. And Mark also making me feel a bit better than pointing out that Crawley is in fact the Munster 10. So I was just mixing up my thoughts a little bit there. Right, we've got one more game to talk about in the Champions Cup. We've got Racing 92. They're minus 8.5 against Harlequins. And Hendrik, you can take us away on this final game.
Gee, Brent, this is not one where I have any feeling. The top 14 side against a Premiership side again. Probably Racing at home. Probably the minus. But this is one where I'd rather have a look at points because I'm probably going to be wrong on the handicap. So, and this feels like a game that might have points as well if you look at the two teams. If you get a decent, I'm not sure where the point line's going to come out, but I'll look at. I won't take one team's points here. I'll take over some total points. I think Harlequins can contribute here as well, but on the handicap, no feel for me.
100%. I see my wife, I think, playing up a little bit as I bring these things up. Brendan, we're going to go to you. Then we're going to do the draw for the book. And then there's no point really talking too much about the Challenge Cup. If the guys have any views, they can put them in the live chat. But I think I've seen one of the games priced up and none of the South African teams have I seen any odds on. What do you think of this? What a great game to bring the curtain down on the weekend. Yeah,
fabulous game, hey. Harlequins, they're looking really, really strong in the Gallagher Premiership. Everything seems to be functioning well. Backlines playing incredibly well. Marcus Smith seems back to form, whether he ever lost it. And the pack is really right up there. My tip for top 14 this season is Racing. I really, really like Racing, although they haven't played as well as I'd hoped. But last weekend, the Sunday night game, had a decent bet there on them. And I'm quite strong on this one, racing minus 8.5. Once again, this tournament, racing 92, this is the one that they really want as well. Harlequins, yeah, excellent team. Like Henrik says, they'll probably contribute on the scoreboard. Artificial surface under a roof. There could be some points in this one. I don't like taking big minuses. I mean, but minus 8.5, minus 9.5 is one of my biggest ones. And earlier on, we were talking about Leicester. I'd be taking minus 12.5 there against the Stormers, but that is the Stormers. This is one of my better bets of the weekend, is racing 92 minus 8.5. I'm really confident. I think this side is a top-notch side, and they just haven't hit their straps yet, and hopefully they'll do it this weekend.
I'd like to go back to the Bristol Bears game to get your views on whether. No, I'm only joking. I'm going to get your views on that one. But I agree with you there on Brendan on the Racing minus 8.5. Walter making the point. Khaleesi, that's his new club, of course. Racing 92. So yeah, interesting to see.
Yeah, quite right.
Guys, we can do the draw now for the Fireside Comp book. I'm going to bring that up, and let's see who's winning. So just to mention, if your name comes up here, email me brent@goodforthegame.co.za. Let me know where in South Africa you want it delivered. We're probably going to use the book will be signed. The author's actually down in Durban. He'll sign it and send it on, but it'll probably be delivered. We'll probably use the PEP. I only found out about it this week when I ordered something else. That PEP, you can use like a little delivery system, and it goes from PEP store to PEP store. So we'll probably use that. And I think every town in South Africa has a KFC, and every town has a PEP store without a doubt. Right, let's have a look who's going to win this draw now. And I will just pop to the other page and do the draw.
Like you said, Brent, I can't believe the price of that book. 600 rands. My God, it's
expensive. I must say, a very good book. The SAR has won it. So
I know the SAR's me.
Well,
am I allowed?
I suppose.
But I'm quite happy not to, the song.
You mean, just hold on a second, Brendan. I listed 17 of your aliases and I missed one. You know what you're telling me?
The SAR is.
But you can win the book.
Okay.
If you don't mind me holding it for you in South Africa, because if you come out next year, I'll give it to you then.
Yeah, really,
you'll enjoy it.
Plus the 600 rand to send it here. It's so funny. The SAR is my YouTube. What do you call it? Nom de plume or whatever they say. Yeah, my alias. Oh, God, the SAR. Okay.
It's been an absolute comedy of errors now. But anyway, well done, the SAR. Guys, keep an eye on I'm probably going to do. I haven't decided. Yes, I've got another copy of the book that I'm going to give away as well. So keep an eye out on the YouTube channel, and then for that, and well done to the SAR who joins 17 different pseudonyms that Brendan has, and I think this sums it up quite nicely when he says, "I'm seriously dodgy." Okay, guys, just very quickly, I don't know anyone on the live chat, anything else on the weekend before we get into the best bets? Brendan, have you had a look at the Challenge Cup? I haven't seen any betting. I don't think there's any point, but if you've got anything to
no. The only one I looked at was tomorrow night, right? I think they priced up on tomorrow night's one. Claremont against somebody. Claremont against Edinburgh. What was the handicap? Is it around 12 or 13? I just thought Claremont looked a much improved side this season. They look well coached. And I think at home, I think they could really smash Edinburgh. But that's the only one I've kind of had a look at. So I like Claremont tomorrow night, and whatever minus it is, 13 or 14.
Henrik, anything for you? Anything else, either in the challenge or anything else on the weekend that maybe attracts your attention?
Yeah, Brent, I haven't had any look at the Challenge Cup, and don't think there's betting out yet. So if I'm watching a game and it comes out, then I'll obviously have a look and bet on it. Otherwise, probably look what cricket is on, get involved in a bit of cricket. I'm going to Cape Town Sevens on Sunday. I'm not a big Sevens fan. I'm just going with the crowd and probably do my best to lose a few bets as well, because I don't know anything about the Sevens. I'm really not clued up with Sevens. But I'm looking forward to the day and just going out to the family and the crowd and stuff. But probably just going to focus on the Champions Cup games betting wise.
Funny there, Brent. I see there's Admiral pointed out the Georgian.
You're not the
side.
Admiral. Sorry, Brendan, you're not the Admiral as well, are you?
no, I'm not. But the Black Lions, I didn't even realize that they were a Georgian side, and I've actually just had a look at that now. That could be quite interesting. I'd like to see how they do. Hopefully they'll put in a good performance. Yeah, I'll definitely have a look at that.
Yeah, guys are straining quite a lot of bets. I like the one that says anyone playing against the Sharks, and then Peter Paul coming what I assume is a big Bash League bet there as well. So there is plenty of sport on this weekend. But gents, let's get into the best bet, because I heard my generator change gear. I think it might be running out of diesel there or something like that. So I mustn't take too much longer. Let's get into the best bets on the show. And Brendan, I'll start with you.
Okay. I just had a quick look there. I must look at that one as well. Walter White's talking about the Cheetahs playing Zebra with rain forecast. So that could potentially be a nice unders. I'll have a look at that one later on. So I've obviously got the Bristol -3.5, but I'm seriously considering the +10.5. So I'm not going to include that as one of my better bets. Ulster on the +6.5.
I see you're going to go back to that Bristol game.
So Ulster plus, Racing -8.5. I'm going to go with the Tigers -12.5. And I got to go with Munster as well. Munster -23.5 or so. Yeah.
This is a weekend to put a big multiple together, Brendan. This is a weekend to put a big multiple together. Of course, the newsletter will be coming out tomorrow sometime as well. So if you haven't subscribed to that, then do go down below and hit the link there, and you can join our free newsletter. Hit the Bulls. I think what was it that I hit last week? Oh, it was overs tries in the Lions game. I see I went over 8.5. It did arrive. I didn't get to watch the game, but we'll see what we can come up with for tomorrow. But let's get Henrik's best bets of the weekend.
Brent, I've got 3. Leicester -12.5 against Stormers. It's my best bet. And then I like the Munster -23.5 quite strong as well. And then in the La Rochelle and Leinster game, I think under some total points wherever it comes out.
Right, excellent. Well, thanks, guys. It was a great show. I must admit, a nice show to end the year. I had a good few laughs, as well as feeling quite inspired about a couple of bets this weekend. I've just got a really, I don't know why, but I got a very good feeling about the weekend. So first of all, Brendan, it was great having you back on the show after quite a while, and look forward to having you on again soon. And please let us know what you do in the Bristol game if you take cover in there.
I'll post that on Good for the Game for sure.
Please do.
Yeah. Merry Christmas to everyone.
Just to be clear, you post this Coil on Good for the Game.
I'm Coil on Good for the Game. Yeah. But yeah, man. Otherwise, Merry Christmas to everyone, and safe holidays and safe travels wherever you go, and all those good things. And hopefully, we can find a few good punts over the next couple of weeks.
Excellent. And Henrik, as always, it's been a pleasure. I'm sure if we did a tally as to who's come on the show the most over the year, you'd be comfortably ahead of the second place runner, besides myself, of course. So thanks very much, mate. And enjoy a little bit of a break from the Good for the Game show, and we look forward to seeing you both in the new year.
Yeah, thanks, Brent. Thanks for having me. Lately, I haven't been as prepared as I probably should be, and the viewers probably might get annoyed with me not being up to date with all the games. But it's these days it's tough with all the competitions, staying up to date as well. And I found with my family, my kids getting older, it gets tough that way as well. But I always enjoy being on. So thanks for having me throughout the year, and enjoy the festive season, everyone, and Merry Christmas. And enjoy the rugby and the cricket and stuff that's on now. It's going to be some nice sport to view during the holidays.
I can rubber stamp that as well, Henrik. As the kids get older, it's harder to fit the bet again in the shows and that. But I can tell you now, as the kids get older and over 18, it gets easier again. So there's some good stuff waiting for you on the horizon. I think let's end the year off on this night. Walter White saying, anybody want to buy? Brilliant. Just excellent, guys. Thanks very much. We'll close the show on that now. We're still going to be doing previews now on Good for the Game, and I'll still be doing the odd video preview, but this is probably the end of the live shows. Thank you very much, and we'll see you in 2024.